The night my sister disappeared, I saw exactly what took her, but instead of helping, I froze. And for 5 years, I lied about everything. Tonight, I'm telling the truth, and I wish I never opened my mouth. The night it happened, I was 12 when my sister, Emily, disappeared. It was summer. We were outside playing a game of hide and seek. Our backyard was huge. There were bushes to duck under, trees to climb, and endless places to hide. The crickets were loud, and the air smelled of freshly cut grass and sunshine. I remember Emily giggling as she ran off to find the perfect hiding spot. Our mom counted to 100, and then the game began. She always used to hide in the same places, behind the old oak tree or in the bush by the shed. But I wasn't going to fall for it this time. I decided to look for her at the back fence. This was forbidden territory. We weren't allowed back there. It was where our neighbor Mr. Davis kept his junk, broken lawn mowers, paint cans, and old tires. But I knew this would be a good place for her to hide. As I crept closer, I heard her breathing heavily. She was definitely back here somewhere. I pressed my eye against the chain link fence and peeked around the corner of the shed. And there she was, but not alone. Hidden in the corner of the yard was a tall, thin figure. He was crouched down, and from where I was standing, I could only see the side of his face. He was leaning against the fence with his head tilted at an unnatural angle, and he was making a gurgling noise, like he was trying to swallow something hard. At first, I thought it was a really big ice cube. Then I noticed black liquid dripping from his mouth onto the ground. I froze. I didn't dare breathe, let alone make a sound. In the few seconds that I was frozen there, the figure straightened up and turned toward me. I blinked, and when I did, he was looking right at me. His eyes were milky and bulging. His mouth was twisted into a grotesque smile. It seemed impossible for any human to look like this, to be so distorted. And then he took a step toward me. A scream caught in my throat as I scrambled away. I wanted to get as far away as possible, but my feet felt heavy like blocks of cement. I couldn't move. I couldn't call out for help. I couldn't do anything. The figure was approaching fast, moving like a spider on its prey. I backed up until I hit the fence. I tried to climb over it, but it was too high. I wasn't fast enough. The creature reached out a hand, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me over the fence and into the darkness. I cried out, thrashing around, kicking and screaming for help. But no one came. Then he had a grip on my arm. I looked back. The face was close. He smelled like decay and dirt. I bit him as hard as I could. But when I did, his expression changed. He roared, a deep, guttural sound that sent shivers down my spine. His eyes flashed. They burned with an unearthly light. I whimpered, curling into a ball on the ground. That's when I saw her. There in the distance, Emily was running. She was calling my name, but I couldn't respond. I couldn't do anything except watch as she disappeared around the corner of the house. And then everything went black. The shadow at the fence. When I woke up, I was lying on the ground in our backyard. My clothes were torn, and I had cuts all over my body. I sat up, dazed and confused. What had happened? Where was my sister? I struggled to my feet and started walking around the yard. It was empty. No sign of the tall figure. No sign of my sister. I called her name, my voice trembling. Where was she? Was she hiding? Had she won the game? But as the seconds ticked by, panic started to rise inside me. She wasn't winning the game. She wasn't anywhere. I raced to the house and burst through the back door. Mom and Dad were sitting at the kitchen table. Mom, Dad, Emily's gone. I cried, throwing myself into their arms. I can't find her anywhere. Dad immediately got up. He helped me search the yard. Mom called Emily's name, but there was no answer. We searched everywhere. Behind the shed, under the place set, even in the bushes. But our little sister was nowhere to be found. Don't worry, sweetie, Mom said, holding me tight. She's probably just playing hide and seek. She'll turn up soon. But deep down, I knew she wouldn't. I knew Emily wasn't going to come back. When we couldn't find her, we called the police. They arrived, flashing lights and sirens blaring. Officers went door to door, asking if anyone had seen her. But no one had. Over the next few days, volunteers handed out flyers with her picture on them. Search parties combed through the woods near our house. But still there was no sign of Emily. And all the time, the image of the tall, thin figure was burned into my brain. I couldn't shake the feeling that he had something to do with her disappearance. But when I told the police what I had seen, they didn't believe me. To them, I was just a scared little girl who had lost her sister. Only I knew the truth. Something had taken her. The lie I told. As the weeks turned into months, everyone began to forget about Emily. The world moved on, but I couldn't. Every night, I heard her name in my dreams. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those milky eyes staring back at me. The face of the tall man haunted my waking hours. I couldn't focus on school. All I could think about was Emily and the monster who had taken her. I blamed myself for what had happened. If I hadn't been so scared, maybe I would have fought back. If I hadn't lied to the police, they might have caught the guy who'd taken her. On the 5th anniversary of her disappearance, the pain was unbearable. So I did something reckless. I went to my parents and told them what I had seen. The figure, the dripping black liquid, how it pulled her away. But instead of comfort or understanding, I got silence. My parents didn't speak, just stared at me like I'd torn away what little hope they had left. And as they watched, something terrifying happened. At exactly 3:07 a.m., I woke to the sound of knocking. It was a Wednesday. I was homesick from school and lying on the couch watching TV. It was past midnight. Dad was snoring softly in his chair. Mom was asleep in hers. Suddenly, 3 slow knocks echoed through the house. I froze. I listened intently. There it was again, knocking. But it wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from the back. I crept toward the kitchen and peered through the window. It was dark. The knocking had stopped. I told myself it was just a branch tapping against the window. But when I looked again, she was there. Emily. She hadn't aged, but her skin was chalk white. Her eyes were too large, bulging out like they didn't fit in her skull. And that black liquid dripped from her mouth and down her chin. Her lips didn't move, but her voice filled my head. "Why didn't you save me?" I stumbled back. When I looked again, she was gone. The final confession. That was the last time I saw her. People tell me grief plays tricks on the mind, that I only imagined her because I couldn't let go. But I know what I saw. I let my sister die because I froze. Because I lied. Maybe if I had screamed, run, or told the truth from the start, someone could have saved her. But now it's too late. And last night the knocking came again, not just at the back door, at my window.